Thank you everyone for joining me on the webinar tonight. Everything that in this webinar is for informational purposes only. And then I want to jump right into this because there's a lot of information that I want to give to you tonight. I want to show you that your educational system is designed to make you fail in life. I know you're not going to understand that now. You're going to understand it in a few minutes. But yes, your educational system sets you up to fail in life. This started back in, it originally got started in 1900. The idea, and Rockefeller and a friend of his was working on it. The friend dropped out, but Rockefeller kept on with the idea because he needed people to work in his factories. And so in 1903, the General Education Board was created, which created the U.S. educational system. And from the U.S., it just spread worldwide. But like I said, I don't want to hold you up any longer. I want to get this information into your hands because there's a lot of people that's going to doubt me. But once you see this information, you can't doubt me. Facts don't lie. So let me get to showing you this information.
There's a factory that has been running for over a century. It doesn't produce objects, it produces obedience. You were one of the pieces processed on that assembly line. They entered with a curious, questioning child, capable of thinking for themselves. They left with an adult entire life for a monthly salary. The conversion was so efficient that you don't even notice the mental bars. They call it education. It's domestication. And the most disturbing thing, you defend the system that imprisoned you. Schopenhauer was right when he said that it is difficult to free fools from the chains they revere. You revere your own captivity and call it a diploma. While you were memorizing useless formulas, they were installing in you a mentality of permanent scarcity. You've been working for years and still have no assets, no freedom, no real power over your existence. It is not a failure. It's the system working. School was born in the Industrial Revolution. The owners of the industries had a concrete problem. Peasants and artisans were not suitable for factory work. They thought too much, questioned too much, had too much autonomy. They needed people who would accept orders, follow rigid schedules, and repeat mechanical tasks without thinking. So they designed an educational system to manufacture this mentality. It is no coincidence that the school functions like a factory. The bell ringing every period conditions you to accept that others will control your time for the rest of your life. Lines, uniforms, permissions for basic needs like going to the bathroom. All of this is not organization. It's behavioral conditioning. You learn early on that there is unquestionable authority. The teacher has the truth. Disagreeing is disrespect. Questioning is rebellion. Thinking differently is a discipline problem. For years, your mind absorbs the message. Obedience is virtue, submission is wisdom, conformity is success. When you finally leave school, you are perfectly molded. You look for a boss, not autonomy. You accept a salary without negotiating because you never learned that you can. You work fixed hours because you have been conditioned to believe that time is controlled by others. You ask permission, follow rules, do not question structures. Domestication is complete. The most brutal thing, you defend it. You call it quality education. You want your children to go through the same process because the programming was so deep that you can no longer see the chains. You wear them voluntarily every morning and believe you are free. Nietzsche observed that there are no facts, only interpretation. Security comes from a fixed salary, that the right way is to study to work for others. This interpretation perfectly serves those who need cheap labor. It serves you terribly. The truth they hid from you. You were educated to serve, not to prosper, to execute, not to create, to obey, not to command. And this education worked so well that you don't even realize that you are serving other people's interests with your own life. 12 years decorating information disconnected from economic reality, mathematical formulas that you never use, historical dates irrelevant to your financial life, scientific concepts that do not apply to anything in your daily life. Meanwhile, zero education about money, zero knowledge about how wealth is created, zero understanding of how the financial system really works. This is not forgetfulness. It is an intentional project. The curriculum was designed to keep you smart enough to operate machines and follow instructions, but ignorant enough to never understand the economic game. You leave school knowing how to solve complex equations, but with no idea how compound interest can indebt or enrich you. You know about cell mitosis, but you don't know how to negotiate a salary. You memorized the periodic table, but never learned the difference between an asset and a liability. The mediocrity of the curriculum keeps you dependent on employment because you don't know how to create value on your own, dependent on salary because you don't understand investments, dependent on the system because you were never taught how to function outside of it. While you were busy memorizing useless content, the children of wealthy families were learning at home about equity, financial leverage, how money works for you instead of you working for money. While you memorized poems, they learned to read balance sheets. You were trained to be an employee, they were trained to be employers. School teaches you to trade time for money. This is the only economic equation implicit in the system. Work, get paid, spend, repeat. They never show you that rich people don't trade time for money. They buy assets that generate income without their presence. They understand that selling your time by the hour is a guarantee of economic imprisonment. But you didn't learn that. You learned that work dignifies, that study leads to success, that effort is rewarded. All are half-truths designed to keep you spinning on the wheel. Work dignifies when it builds your wealth, not that of others. Study leads to success when it teaches you to think, not to repeat. Effort is rewarded, but usually the one who reaps the reward of your effort is your employer. Schopenhauer understood, wealth is like seawater. The more we drink, the thirstier we become. School programmed you to seek wealth through consumption, not through building wealth. You work to buy things that make you work more. Financed car, financed house, credit card at the limit. Each purchase is an additional chain tying you to the monthly salary. The curriculum of mediocrity did not fail. It fulfilled its purpose, to give you the illusion of education while denying you the knowledge that truly liberates. You left school thinking you know a lot, but ignorant about the only thing that would change your life, how money works. Talking about money in school is taboo, materialistic, inappropriate. Teachers avoid the subject. The curriculum ignores it completely. And this is no accident, it is strategic censorship. Because if you understood money, you would understand power. And if you understood power, you would no longer accept being powerless. School teaches you that money doesn't matter that much, that you should do what you love and the rest will come, that good people don't worry about wealth. These are comfortable lies that keep you docile. In a capitalist system, whoever does not understand money will be eternally exploited by whoever does. It's simple math. While you were hearing that money doesn't bring happiness, the children of the rich were learning about capital multiplication, investments, how to use debt in their favor, how to create multiple sources of income. You were taught to be ashamed of financial ambition. They were taught to dominate markets. The silence on financial education guarantees your dependence. A worker who understands how money works is dangerous. He begins to question why he works 40 hours a week producing value and receiving only a fraction of it. He begins to understand that salary is the tool that imprisons him, not that liberates him. He begins to see that time is the most valuable resource and selling it by the hour guarantees permanent poverty. But you never learned that. You implicitly learned that security comes from a fixed salary, that the norm is to trade 5 days a week for 2 of rest, that retirement at 65, if you're lucky, is the prize for decades of obedience. You internalized that this is the only possible path. The truth? There are dozens of ways to generate income, dozens of ways to build wealth, dozens of strategies that the rich use to multiply money while they sleep, but you don't know any of them. You spent 20 years studying and came out financially illiterate, and now you're here, an adult, working every month, living paycheck to paycheck, wondering why you never get anywhere. The answer: you were deliberately kept ignorant about the only subject that really matters. Because a worker who understands money doesn't accept crumbs, doesn't spend decades building someone else's empire, isn't content with survival when they could have abundance. The silence about money in school is control. It's ensuring that you enter the job market without options, without knowledge, without tools to negotiate or create alternatives. It's ensuring that you accept the conditions they offer you because you don't know there are other possibilities. And it worked. You're exactly where the system needs you to be: producing, consuming, getting into debt, working more, in an endless cycle that enriches others while keeping you stagnant. The model student sat in the front, never late, did all the homework, got top grades, followed every rule without question. The school loved this student. Teachers praised them. Parents were proud. They were the example of success. And do you know where they are today? In a stable job, earning a decent salary, being the perfect employee, exactly where they were programmed to be. The good student was not trained to win. They were trained to obey with excellence, and there is a brutal difference between these two things. They learned that following rules brings rewards, that doing what you're told guarantees approval, that questioning authority brings punishment. They internalize that their role is to fit in, not stand out. They learn to play the game within the rules established by others, never to create their own rules. In the job market, they are the perfect hire. Arrives on time, never complains, accepts orders without question. Works overtime when asked, is grateful for the opportunity. The ideal employee. Submissive, predictable, controllable. Exactly what years of school conditioning produced. Meanwhile, that problem student who questioned everything, who saw no point in memorizing useless information, who challenged teachers. The school punished them. Low grades, complaints, threats, because they were dangerous. Not to themselves, but to the system. They had the wrong mindset. The mindset of someone who doesn't accept being controlled. Irony: many successful entrepreneurs, wealth creators, innovators were exactly these problem students, not because rebellion guarantees success, but because they left without having their minds completely domesticated. They still had that spark of questioning that the school tries to extinguish in everyone. Dietrich Bonhoeffer observed something devastating. Stupidity is a more dangerous moral disease than malice, because there are many intelligent men who are stupid. The school manufactures exactly that. Technical intelligence combined with foolish obedience. People capable of solving complex problems, but incapable of questioning why they are solving those problems or who benefits from them. The good student believes that hard work leads to wealth, because they have always seen effort rewarded with grades. But in the real world, hard work without strategy only leads to exhaustion. They believe that loyalty to the company will be recognized because loyalty to school rules was rewarded. But in the corporate world, loyalty is exploited, not rewarded. They expect that following rules will take them to the top because that's how it worked in school. But in the real world, those at the top make the rules, and those rules were made to keep others down. The myth of the hard-working good student is perhaps the cruelest lie of the system. It makes you believe that obedience will be rewarded, that conformity leads to success, that following the path laid out by others will give you freedom. When you realize it doesn't, that you've only become a replaceable part in a giant machine, you've already wasted decades. The truth: real success doesn't come from following rules. It comes from understanding the rules well enough to know when to break them. It comes from questioning authority, not blindly accepting it. It comes from thinking independently, not repeating what you were taught. But school would never teach that, because it would lose its purpose. The most sinister part of the system is not what it teaches, but what it does to your mind. School is not just a place of learning. It is an institution of psychological conditioning that shapes how you think about yourself, about risk, about possibilities, about freedom. From day one, you are trained to seek external approval. Your grades don't reflect how much you've learned, but how much you've pleased the teacher. Your report card doesn't measure growth. It measures conformity to the standard. Your value is determined by how well you fit the mold, not by how unique you are. This conditioning creates a devastating psychological dependence. You learn to measure your worth by what others think. You seek constant validation. You learn that there is a right path, and any deviation is failure. In adulthood, you become a prisoner of other people's opinions. School also teaches you to fear mistakes. Each wrong answer loses points. Each failed attempt is recorded in red. Every time you take a risk and fail, you are publicly corrected. Over time, you learn that it is safer not to try, not to risk, not to think outside the box. In the real world, especially in business and wealth creation, mistakes are the most valuable learning tool. Every entrepreneur has failed multiple times. Every investor has lost money. Every innovator has had ideas that didn't work. But they were not paralyzed by fear because they were not completely conditioned, or they managed to unlearn that fear. You carry that fear. That's why you don't try. That's why you don't take risks. That's why you stay in the job you hate. Because trying something new means the possibility of failing. And failing is the worst thing possible. At least that's what 12 years of school have instilled in you. School also systematically kills creativity. Before it, you were naturally creative. You asked absurd questions. You invented games. You thought in non-linear ways. But school doesn't need creativity. It needs uniformity. Your inconvenient questions were ignored. Your different ideas were corrected. Your unique way of thinking was molded until it became standard. Result: you grow up believing that creativity is a gift of the few, when in reality it is a capacity that has been systematically destroyed in you. And without creativity, you don't see unconventional solutions. You don't imagine a life outside the standard job, salary, retirement. You can't create your own path because your mind has been trained to follow existing paths. School also creates artificial competition. You don't compete to be better than you were yesterday. You compete against colleagues for grades, for attention, for positions in the ranking. This installs a scarcity mindset. If another student does well, your chances decrease. If someone knows the answer, you missed an opportunity. This mindset accompanies you into adulthood. You see other professionals as threats, not as potential partners. You believe that wealth is limited, and if someone is winning, you are losing. You don't collaborate. You compete destructively. And this mindset ensures that you remain small, because real growth comes from collaboration. School teaches you learned helplessness. You have no choice about what you study. You have no control over your time. You have no voice over the rules. You raise your hand and wait for permission. You ask to go to the bathroom. You accept that your life is controlled by a signal that rings every hour. For years, you internalize that you have no power over your own existence. As an adult, you accept jobs where you have no voice. You accept bosses who control every minute of your day. You accept unfair salaries because that's just how things are. You never learned that you can take control because throughout your education, control was something that others had over you. The psychological prison is invisible, but it is the strongest. They are not iron bars, they are mental bars. Limiting beliefs installed so deeply that you don't even realize they exist. Implanted fears, dead creativity, rewarded conformity, valued obedience, punished questioning. You carry all this as if it were your natural personality, when it is carefully designed conditioning. Nietzsche was right. Those who dance are considered insane by those who cannot hear the music. You were taught not to listen to the music of freedom. You were trained to consider those who live outside the norm insane. You were conditioned to defend your own prison and normality. It was never to give you the tools to build wealth. It was never to teach you to think independently. The purpose has always been to create and maintain an obedient, predictable, and dependent working class. The system needs you poor, not miserable to the point of rebelling, but poor enough to need to work, poor enough to accept bad conditions, poor enough not to have options. School prepares you perfectly for this role. Observe the complete structure. You spend 12 years, sometimes 20, studying. During this time, you are not producing wealth. You are accumulating knowledge that is supposed to allow you to produce wealth later. Then you graduate and need a job immediately, because you have no money, possibly have debts. You accept the first job you can get, grateful for the opportunity. Now you are working. You produce value, but receive only a fraction of it as salary. The rest goes to whoever employed you. The salary seems sufficient at first, so you don't question it. Over time, you take on financial commitments, rent or mortgage on a house, car, marriage, children. Each commitment is an additional chain. Now, you can't quit your job even if you want to, because your obligations depend on that monthly salary. You are trapped. And if you question, if you complain, if you demand more, you can be replaced, because there are thousands of others who have gone through the same system, who have the same conditioning, who will accept your conditions. This is the cycle. Study, work, consume, get into debt. Work more, consume more, get into debt more, until you are so entangled that freedom becomes impossible. And you do all this believing that you are on the right path, that you are building your life, that you are being responsible, when in reality you are building the wealth of others using your life as fuel. School prepares you for this cycle by making you comfortable with it. You get used to doing things you don't want to because it's necessary. You get used to following schedules imposed by others. You get used to producing results to earn approval and minimal rewards. All of this perfectly conditions you for a life as an employee. And the most perverse part, you defend the system. You look at those who drop out of school and think they made a mistake. You value a diploma more than real skill. You believe that the path of security is superior to the path of risk, because that's what you were taught to believe. The educational system creates educated poverty, people with diplomas, with technical knowledge, with the ability to perform complex tasks, but without the slightest idea of how to create real wealth. People who spent 20 years studying but don't know the difference between an asset and a liability. Intelligent, but financially illiterate. This is the perfect workforce. The real objective is not a conspiracy hidden in secret rooms. It is a logical consequence of a system that needs workers, not independent thinkers. That needs indebted consumers, not financially free people. That needs obedience, not rebellion. School delivers exactly that. Generation after generation, you were taught to be poor. Not poor in money necessarily, but poor in mindset, poor in options, poor in real power over your own life. And you were taught to call this poverty education, this prison opportunity, this domestication success. The question now, what do you do with this information? You can reject it, be offended, defend the system that shaped you. It would be more comfortable. Or you can accept the brutal truth and start reprogramming yourself. Learn what school never taught. Question everything that has been implanted in your mind. Build real freedom, not the illusion of freedom that a diploma and a job offer. The only education that really matters is the one that teaches you to be free. And that, school will never give. You will have to seek it on your own against everything that has been conditioned in you. This is the education that liberates, and it begins with the brutal realization that you were taught to be poor, to accept poverty, to defend poverty, and to pass this poverty on to the next generation. The chain only breaks when you decide that enough is enough, that you will no longer play a game where the rules were made for you to lose, that you will learn the real rules, those that the rich know and that were never taught in the classroom, that you will unlearn years of conditioning and rebuild your mind around freedom, not servitude. This is not easy. It's the hardest thing you can do, because it means admitting that you were deceived, that years of your life were spent preparing you to be exploited, that the people you trusted were not preparing you to win, they were preparing you to obey. But this is the only truth that can set you free. And freedom, true economic and mental freedom, does not come from accepting what you were taught. It comes from destroying what you were taught and building something new in its place, something that serves you, not the system, something that gives you power, not that keeps you powerless. School taught you to be poor, now it's up to you to teach yourself to be free.
Now, I pray that this video opened up your eyes and you were able to accept the truth. I know some people that just will see this video and they just still won't believe that they've been set up to fail. And like the man in the video said, you're passing it down to your children. It's passed down to generation to generation. It depends on how old you are, but this educational system, like I said, started in 1903. So it started with a lot of people's great great grandparents, and then it passed down to their children, and it passed down to their children, and eventually got to your grandparents, and then they passed it down to your parents, and your parents passed it down to you, and like I said, you passed it down to your children. And so It's time to stop living in poverty. It's time for you to start living as a wealthy person. And what I'm getting ready to show you, I'm going to show you how to own assets. You're going to be earning this asset 24/7. And the asset that I'm talking about is Bitcoin. Now, this particular app, when it debuted on the Google platform and the Apple platform. But at the time of me doing this webinar, it's not on the Google platform. It's not in the Google Play Store right now because recently Google made some updates to its terms and conditions, and so the app has been removed from the Google Play Store. The developers of the app is making changes to the app so it can comply with the new terms and conditions of Google, so it can be put back into the Google Play Store. So, if you're an Android user and you were using this app before it was removed from the Play Store, and if you have a newer phone, you may be okay. You might not have to buy a different device. And the reason I say that is because I'm an Android user. Now, the phone that I have, my Android phone, was a budget phone. So once this app was removed from the Google Play Store, the updates for the app is coming strictly from this app's website. So my phone, it would accept the updates, but it would not install the updates. So eventually it got to the point where I couldn't even open up the app anymore. So I had to buy an inexpensive Apple device. So, like I said, if you have a newer phone and you were using this app before it was removed from the Google Play Store and you're able to accept the updates that's coming strictly from the website, then you won't need to buy a Apple device. But like I said, if you're in my situation, or if this is the first time you've seen this app and you're an Android user, yes, you will have to buy a Apple device. And of course, Apple users, you're okay. So what I want you to do is go to the Play Store. I'm sorry, the Apple Store. It's not called the Play Store on the Apple platform. So I want you to go to the Apple Store and I want you to put in the search box Bitcoin mining and look for that particular icon so you'll know which app you need to download. So after you've downloaded the app, you're going to register with the app and then you're going to open up the app and you're going to go inside the app. And once you do, this will be your home screen. Now, before you start earning any Bitcoin, let me tell you a couple of things first. You may hear me say Satoshi. Satoshi is just the smallest part of Bitcoin. Here in the United States, the smallest part of our currency is pennies, and the largest part of our currency is dollars, whether it be a $1 bill, $5 bill, $10 bill, etc. So if you hear me say Satoshi, it's just the smallest part of Bitcoin. Second of all, once you get to this page right here, I want you to click on profile. And it's going to bring you to this screen right here. Now, I am giving away a $5,000 Bitcoin bonus to people. That's why I said before you start earning any Bitcoin, I want you to click on profile from that home screen and come to this screen right here. Now, this box here on the left, that's my referral code. It's E4187. When you're looking at this screen on your device, your referral code will be in that box. So you need to write down my code and click on this blue box right here where it says enter the invitation code. Once you do that, this second box will appear. This is where you enter in my referral code and then click confirm. Once you do that, it's going to bring you back to this screen right here. So from here, now that's the first part of you being qualified for the $5,000 Bitcoin bonus that I'm giving away to people. Now, from this screen, I want you to look in the lower left-hand corner of the screen and click on Home, which is going to bring you back to this home screen right here. Now, this number right here, as you're earning Bitcoin, it's going to keep going up because you're going to be earning Bitcoin 24/7. This box right here shows what you earned on the previous day. This number right here, this box right here, once you refer people to this app and they start earning Bitcoin for themselves, this number right here does not reset every day. This number does on this side. This doesn't. This just keeps going up. So after midnight every day, the app will look and see what your referrals made on the previous day, how much they earned the previous day. And the app is going to give you a 10% referral bonus every day because you help refer these people to this app and help them get started, earning Bitcoin. Now, that 10% bonus comes from the developers, not from what your referrals earned. Okay, so I want to make that clear. Now, as you scroll down to the middle of the page, this button right here on the left, you have to click on it every calendar day. It's going to give you 8 hours of free mining power. Also, it keeps your miners activated. So if you don't click on it on a calendar day, this right here will switch to off. And once it switched off, you don't want that to happen because if switch it off, you're not earning any Bitcoin until you click this button or this button or this button right here. But you still have to click this button either way, even if you click one of these two first. All right. This button, you have to click every calendar day also. These are ads that you get to watch. The developers of the app, they have actual physical Bitcoin miners running 24/7. Over time, the miners are going to lose their efficiency earning. So for you to help offset that loss, they have it set up that you have to watch 10 ads every day. Once you do that, a line will go through here and through that number. Now, each ad is going to give you an additional 8 hours of mining power. Also, if you say, for instance, you don't watch any ads one day or 5 ads one day, right? And after midnight, this number right here, let's say you don't watch any ads, it's going to go up to 10 by 10 more. So it's going to go to 20. If you only watch 5 ads after midnight, then this number is going to become 15. So you just have to watch those many ads on that particular day. And then the next day, it'll drop back down to 10. Also, each ad is going to run you somewhere around 45 seconds to about 2 minutes. Now, this button right here on the right, this is the only optional button that you have out of these three. These are also ads that you can watch. Now, each one of these ads is going to run for 24 hours. So you're going to have 24 hours of additional free mining power. So if you watch all 35 ads, that's 35 ads times 24 hours. Like I say, each ad going to give you an additional 24 hours of free mining power. Now, what I just showed you is information that, so if it's just like this, if you refer someone to this app and they try to say, oh, that they lost money or that this is a Ponzi scheme or it took advantage of them, it's a lie because you can earn Bitcoin for free. You haven't spent anything. So no, that those excuses don't wash. They out the window because you earning without investing anything. Now, I want you to come down and click on store. Once you do that, it's going to bring you to this screen. Now, this screen right here is where you can buy mining mining contracts, and they go from 200 gigahash all the way up to 25 terahash. Now, this 25 terahash contract is going to run you $999.99 plus sales tax. The 200 gigahash contract is going to cost you $9.99 plus sales tax. Now, when you register with this app, you registered under your country's name. So these prices are going to reflect your country's currency. And so let's say, for instance, your country GDP is not near what the United States is. So whatever your equivalency is, yeah, I need some water. I'm sorry. So you may not pay the equivalent of $9.99. You might only pay $4.99 in your country. Okay. So I just want to get that straight. Also, each one of these, you can only buy 3 contracts of each one. Okay. You see these blocks right here? They're all black. You see this one right here? It's gray. Once you buy 3 of a particular contract, the box will turn gray and you can't buy any more of that particular contract. So I've purchased my 3 contracts of this 1.1 terahash. I haven't purchased all 3 contracts of the 200, the 410, the 2.3 terahash, and so forth. And each contract that you purchase is yours indefinitely. Once you purchase each contract, you don't have it for like 3 months, 6 months, a year. It's yours. So there's you don't have to go back and repurchase it again. Now, what I want you to do is click on wallet. And it's going to bring you to this screen right here. So if you want to make a withdrawal, you just click on that button or this button down here at the bottom of the screen. And I just wanted to show you that this is a legitimate app and that you can make withdrawals. Now, you can make withdrawals 2 different ways, either through the Lightning Network or the regular Bitcoin network. If you're in a country with YouTube, just put in the search box Lightning Network wallets, and you will see videos that people made that will show you how to make deposits into your wallet, how to send money, how to receive money, everything. Now, if you want to use the regular Bitcoin network, same thing. Go to YouTube and just put in Bitcoin network. Just say deposits, and you'll get a ton of videos showing you how to make deposits, withdrawals, everything else like that. Now, once you do this, once you after you start earning Bitcoin, I want you to go to someplace like Coinbase or crypto.com or Gemini.com, create an account there. After you do that, I want you to apply for a debit card because unless you're going to be making payments to people from crypto to crypto, you don't have a way to spend your crypto. So you will need that debit card. It's going to come in the mail to you. And these are two of the wallets that they use, the Speed and the ZBD. I have both of those. And if you want to make a withdrawal just using the regular Bitcoin network, you can make that also. Now, these right here are called hot wallets. Even when you have an account, say with a Coinbase or Crypto.com or Gemini, those are hot wallets. The regular Bitcoin network, you can have a hot wallet or a cold wallet. Hot wallet is a wallet that's online. I'm telling you now, you really need to go ahead and get you a cold storage wallet. You can Google it, cold storage wallet, YouTube it, or whatever country you in, whatever service that you have that's like YouTube or Venmo, and just put in there cold storage wallet, and it'll give you a ton of videos about the different cold storage wallet. I have a ledger. So um, cold storage wallets are secure. Hot storage wallets, since they're online, people are always trying to hack into these platforms and steal people crypto. So I just suggest that you don't leave your crypto in a hot storage wallet, especially like the ZBD or the Speed or crypto.com and things like that. Transfer your crypto to your cold storage wallet. Now, yes, you can make smaller withdrawals using your Speed wallet, your Lightning wallet, compared to your regular Bitcoin network wallet. So either you can just leave it on here, leave it in your account, and still earning crypto, and you can wait till you get this amount, a minimum of that amount, and then make a withdrawal. Or you can make several withdrawals using your Speed wallet and then transfer from that wallet to your cold storage wallet. Now, every time that you make a withdrawal request, it's going to tell you it can take up to 24 hours before you receive your crypto in your wallet. So I just want you to be aware of that. And thank you for people that are on here that about how to make withdrawals, about the Lightning Network and the regular Bitcoin network. I just wanted to brief people that's new to crypto, that's new to this app, on the wallets and how to make withdrawals and everything else like that. I don't want to stay too much on this. Like I said, that's why I'm referring you to YouTube, and where you have more time to study all of this. Then from here, I want you to click on profile again. It's going to bring you back to this page. If you want to share this app with people, you can click on share, or you can click on this button that says invite friends. It's going to create a link that looks like this. And then they can just join with you through that link. Now, if you have any problems, any concerns, any questions about the app, what you need to do is click on settings. Then another box will pop up, and then you just click on contact us. That's how you email the developers of the app, and they usually respond back to you within 24 hours. Now, you can't ask them about the Bitcoin bonus that I'm giving away to people, because that's something I'm personally doing outside of the app. And you can sign out every time you leave the app and sign back in. Also, I almost forgot to tell you about this. You remember, let's see, on the home screen, where I said these you have to watch your 10 ads here, or you can watch your 35 ads here. Now you don't have to do it all in one setting, because I know people have life, you get busy, so you might only watch 2 or 3 ads, go and do whatever you got to do, then come back and watch some more of them. But like I said, just make sure you watch all 10 of these ads every calendar day, so you don't have to have that additional ads you need to watch on the next day. Here, like I said, this button is optional. You can use this app for 10 years and never watch any additional ads down here. Or you might want to watch one ad one day, and 3 years from now, you watch another ad. So, like I said, this one is optional. Now, the second part of you receiving your $5,000 in Bitcoin bonus that I'm giving away to people. Once you earn one whole Bitcoin, because it's going to be a one over here. Or if you're making withdrawal, whenever you make a withdrawal, however amount that you make a withdrawal, then this number is going to drop down to that amount, but it's going to keep on rolling, showing that you're still earning Bitcoin 24/7. So you'll see that drop for a brief second, and then it's going to keep on going up again. So if you're constantly making withdrawals, you could earn one whole Bitcoin without the one being over here. Or if you just don't want to make any withdrawals until you get that one Bitcoin over there, or you might wait till you get two over here. But whenever you earn that one Bitcoin after you've registered with me, what I need you to do is go back to that profile screen, and I need you to take a screenshot or a picture of this screen right here, because I need your ID number. Because if you're going to let me know that you've earned that one Bitcoin after you've registered with me, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go into my back office, or click on this button right here and look for your ID number and see if you've earned one whole Bitcoin yet. If you haven't, then I'm gonna let you know where you're at, and you can see how much more that you need to earn before you see that one Bitcoin. Also, let's say you've been using this app 6 months, a year, 2 years, and you on this webinar tonight, or if you're looking at this video on YouTube, and then you're close to earning one Bitcoin, you decide to register with me. And let's say a month, 2 months later, 3 months later, you earn one Bitcoin, and you email me and tell me that you've earned one Bitcoin. Like I said, I'm just going to go in my back office because I got your ID number. I'm going to go in your back office, in my back office, and look and see if you've earned one whole Bitcoin since you've registered with me. If you haven't, I'm just going to let you know how much you've earned up to that point. So you know how much more you need to earn before you reach that one Bitcoin after you register with me. And that's why in the very beginning, I told you before you earn any Bitcoin to go ahead and get registered with me, because every Satoshi that you earn, I want it to count towards your overall earnings and towards that $5,000 bonus that I'm giving away to people. I just don't want you to miss out on anything. And let me see. I don't think I'm missing out on telling you anything. Um, the way I just showed you to register, if you have someone that do want to register with you, and that link isn't working, now you know how to register manually and how to help them get registered with you manually. And I think that's it for tonight. Like I said, I don't want to hold you too long. So, um, if you have any concerns, any problems, any questions, you can always email me, and or you can email the developers of the app, and we will get your questions answered. So, everyone, y'all have a great and wonderful evening or day wherever you are on this blessed earth, and I will see you on the next webinar.